Hey guys, it's Will, it's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome to the channel. Thank you for finding us. I hope you're doing well. If you want to sub, that would be hugely appreciated. Thank you very, very much. Let's jump right into the video. It's a pickups video. I have gotten so many movies recently that I think I have to record like 7 different pickup videos, and I'm not exaggerating at all. I just laid them all out this morning, trying to figure out like how many videos do I have to make them not too long and to accommodate all of the movies I've gotten recently. And I think it's 7. We'll see. Starting now with Japanese pickups, but not just Japanese movies part 1, because I gotten so many Japanese movies recently that I can't fit them all in one video. It reminds me of a song that my wife used to sing. Like, this was probably like 10 or 12 years ago. I was watching Kurosawa movies. So I spent like a whole year watching Kurosawa movies, like over and over and over again. I was like buying them all, and I had like a whole shelf for Japanese movies and stuff like that. And my wife used to sing to me, "So many Japanese movies." And that's how I'm feeling right now, because I have so many Japanese movies that I literally am going to have to make multiple videos to accommodate them all. So today's pile of Japanese movies, let's see if I can hold this all up, is this pile of Japanese movies, which I think is 15 movies, 17 movies. Let's jump into it and let's see what we got. So we got the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. So after I watched Hokuriku Proxy War, I'm doing like a little impromptu adjustment of my framing here. I watched Hokuriku Proxy War a couple months ago. It's also a Kinji Fukasaku film. It really blew my mind. I loved that film. I still think that's an incredible, phenomenal film. And it started this new wave of my love and appreciation of Japanese cinema. And I really wanted to watch as many Kinji Fukasaku films as I could, and I realized I think I owned like 6 of his movies already at that time, and I hadn't watched most of them. So I blew through them all in like 2 days. I was homesick from work. And then I was like, okay, I need to get and see as many of his movies as possible, because I can't believe I've been sleeping on him as a filmmaker. But like, I mean, I started watching Japanese movies when I was like in high school. So like 2000, probably circa the year 2000. So for 25 years, I've been sleeping on Kinji Fukasaku. And I whipped myself in the dark with my like an ancient priest. And yeah, and I felt, I prayed for forgiveness, and I went on a Kinji Fukasaku binge. I have watched the first 4 films in the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. Now, this is available in region A too. You can see that this is like the British rating thing. So this is I think this is, yeah, this is the region B version. Here's a pro tip. Because Arrow owns the rights to these movies in both Region A and Region B, I think they manufactured the discs the same. I think the discs are Region A and B, and they just put the different branding on the different versions. And the reason I think that is that I played this in a Region A player, and it played. I was like, let me just try it. Let me see what happens. And it worked. So there's 5 films in this set. That's the last. I'm trying to figure out what order they're in. Here we go. So there's Battles Without Honor and Humanity. That's the first film in the set. This is also called the Yakuza Papers series, sometimes in English. So that's the first film. And then there is the Hiroshima Death Match is the second film. And then the third film is Proxy War. So there's Hiroshima Death Match, Proxy War. And so the artwork on the outer case here is the Hiroshima Death Wish, if we're pronouncing it correctly. And then there's Proxy War artwork on the inside of the slim case. And then Police Tactics. Now, I have watched the first 4 of these. I think I said that already. This has been my favorite so far. All of these movies I gave 5 stars on Letterboxd. Police Tactics is currently in my Letterboxd top 4, and just blew me away, because it has like, these movies have this really amazing, chaotic, violent energy. And they have this really interesting, almost like political thriller aspect, where it's all these people like getting together in groups and talking about, this person's doing that, we have to do this, we have to do this. It's almost like Election, the Johnny To film. Obviously, these came like 30 years before Election. They're also movies that have a really good sense of humor. They've got really great characters. But Police Tactics had like a kind of sadness to it, almost like an elegy, that was a new element to the series that I thought was really beautiful. I have absolutely no qualms in saying that I think this is one of the greatest cinematic crime sagas ever created. I would put it in the same realm as, whatever, like Godfather 1 and 2, which I think really exist in their own kind of rarefied space. I think this exists in that space as well. And then, like, I mean, whatever. What are the formative, like, 1930s American gangster films? The ones I think of off the top of my head, just because I've watched them recently, are Scarface and like the Roaring Twenties and like those movies. But I think this is really, truly, in terms of its scope. There's the originality of the storytelling is really interesting here because it it's 5 films, but it's kind of like one massive story. But each film has its own story, but they also work as a giant unit. It's like 8 hours long or something like that, and the main characters are kind of the same, and it follows them across decades, and it's I mean, there's dozens of characters in here. A lot of people have complained about losing track of the characters and not really understanding what's going on. My tactic for movies like this that have tons and tons of characters, and admittedly, I because I know I have forgotten most of my Japanese, but because I lived in Japan, like, Japanese names are easier for me to remember. If I were watching a movie in, like, German, and I don't speak any German, I would probably start losing track of the characters because the names will all just kind of blend together in my head, right? But it's a little bit easier for me to distinguish Japanese names because I did speak Japanese at one point and I lived in Japan. But what I do, honestly, is I just watch the film. I don't try to make a chart in my head of everything that's going on and, like, follow it forensically and know every single detail. I just watch it. Kinji Fukasaku is a good enough filmmaker that the movies will make sense. You just have to trust in them and watch them, and you will see what is happening to the characters on the screen as the events evolve, and you don't really need to remember every single name that's mentioned in every scene. That's my philosophy towards it, but phenomenal set, incredible films, highly recommended. The Kinji Fukasaku binge continues. I want to give a big shout out to our patrons too. If you're not in Patreon, you can sign up for $2 a month. You can sign up for $5 a month. That money is the budget for this channel. So all of the films that I do get films from, I do sometimes get stuff from like labels or distributors as like review copies, but everything that I buy for the channel, I buy with the Patreon money, and I do polls in Patreon of like, what should I buy with the money we have right now? Here's a bunch of, releases that are coming out. This is the kind of stuff I'm interested in reviewing. What do you want to see me review? Like, I do polls on what my next movie for review should be. I do some exclusive content. I do a lot of early release content. So if you want to go over there and check that out, it would be hugely appreciated. The Kinji Fukasaku, this is another Arrow set, and I think it's just called Kinji Fukasaku, or like 3 films from Kinji Fukasaku. And it's got Street Mobster, which is one of like the grimiest, gnarliest, most nihilistic, just like every character is like a piece of human crap, just like nasty, grindhouse, violent, brutal movies. So if you like those types of like really grimy, almost like the Category 3 Hong Kong type of movies, like the more kind of nasty, gnarly ones, I think I really dig this movie. It was a little strong for my stomach. I was able to watch it and finish it, but and it's got reversible artwork here. So I did reverse this so that the original Japanese poster, I guess, I mean, it's got English on it, but I'm assuming that was the original Japanese poster. And then here's the new artwork that was created for this release. It's just a gnarly, grimy movie. So if you dig those types of things, you will dig that movie. And then there's also Doberman Cop, I think, which I've never seen, and I haven't watched it yet in this set, so that's a new movie for me. And I think Sonny Chiba's in this movie. I think that's Sonny Chiba right there. I have seen so many Sonny Chiba and Tomisabu Wakayama films as I've been going through my binge of Japanese movies recently. And then we have Cops versus Thugs. These films are all from the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe one's from like 1980. Let's see. This is from, give me a year, people. I know that Street Mobster is early 70s. I think it's like 1972. The other two, I think, are a little bit later. Yeah, so 72, 75, and 77. So they're all from the 1970s, along with the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. And now we hop over to 88 Films, who has taken a page from the Radiance Films playbook and is doing these Obi strips now on these releases. And I think that's, if you look at, I've got like 3 88 Films Japanese releases here, and they're doing it on this line of Japanese films. So I think that's like a way that they're distinguishing it maybe from some of their other films. I haven't opened this yet, and I will review this, and I will open it when I review it. It is numbered, which is really cool. So this is another Kinji Fukasaku film. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This came out in 1964, and this is a 2025 release. So when I was getting really excited about Fukasaku a couple months ago, I started looking at lists of all of his films, and then I started Googling the titles being like, whatever. This movie is called Jako Manetsu, I believe. Jako Manetsu. So I Googled Jako Manetsu Blu-ray, and it was like 88 Films is putting this movie out this year. And I was like, ching, hell yeah, that's awesome. Perfect timing. So this film is from 1964. So that's 10 years before the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. The earliest film of his I've seen so far, I believe, is from 1969, which was Japan Organized Crime Boss, which I did a little mini review of, which will be up on the channel soon. So, Jako Manetsu is an early action masterpiece from Kinji Fukasaku, adapted from a script written by the legendary Akira Kurosawa. So, I mean, come on, how can you not be like, yes, Daddy, I have to see that movie? Set in 1947 in a small coastal village among the majestic snowy landscapes of Japan's northernmost island of Hokkaido, Ken Takakura is Tetsu, the prodigal son who returns from the war to help out his father, Kyubei, with the family herring fishing business. His arrival coincides with that of a one-eyed miscreant named Jakoman, played by Tetsuro Tamba, who bears a long-standing grudge against Kyubei and is intent on, I'm sorry, the writing is just kind of small here, is intent on causing as much mayhem among the hordes of seasonal fishermen as possible. So, I'm a huge Kurosawa fan, which you'll know if you watch this channel, which I also think I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And Kurosawa wrote a ton of scripts, and a lot of the movies that he wrote scripts for are not easily available in English, or whatever editions of them that have existed with English subtitles are not very easy to find. So I haven't seen a lot of those films. And there's certain ones that I've marked on, like I made lists of like, I really want to try to track this movie down. Kurosawa is a great writer. When he became a director, he would work with a team of writers, and they had the greatest freaking writing setup ever. They would go to a hot spring for like a month or whatever, and they would just stay in a really nice hotel, take baths, order food, and then sit in like a conference room essentially together and like create the script. And I'm like, it's just like the coolest freaking thing I've ever heard of. I also read once that when they wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jake Kasdan wrote the movie, I believe. Maybe, am I thinking of one of the Indiana Jones movies? I'm not going to get lost in the title. One of the Indiana Jones movies, the screenwriter and Lawrence Kasdan, Jake Kasdan is his son, right? The writer and George Lucas got together for just like a couple weeks, and they rented a conference room somewhere, and they ordered food every day, and they just like wrote the story. Just like, that's, to me as a writer, that sounds just like the coolest thing ever, and like a dream come true. So Kurosawa had a great writing setup. So that's Jako Manetsu. Let me do the one other Fukasaku film I have in this pile, and then I'll get into some other stuff. We have The Threat. This is released by Arrow. As you can see, I have not opened this yet. This is another early film. This is from the 1960s. This is a short movie too. I think it's like 80 minutes. And I think it's like kind of like a film noir. Let me see what year this is from. Why is it so hard to find the year? 1966. Okay, so this came out a couple years after Jakoman and Tetsu. And that's Tony Stella artwork. So fantastic, as always. The Threat is a gritty crime drama in the vein of Kurosawa's High and Low, set against the backdrop of a rapidly modernizing Japan that has left many of its citizens behind. So Fukasaku, one of the things I've noticed is like a primary occupation of his as a director in his crime films is the relationship between organized crime, politics, business, and the evolution of Japanese society in the wake of the war, going from like the era of the black markets in the 1940s and the rise of the modern Yakuza, consolidating their power in that kind of the stew, the chaos of that era. And then the collusion between crime, politics, business, and the way that that left many people exploited and struggling, essentially. Amidst this huge economic boom in Japanese society. So I find that to be a really interesting thematic pursuit, and that's one of the reasons I love these films. So we have a Gosha film next, Hideo Gosha. I think I've only seen like 3, or maybe, no, I've seen like 4 Hideo Gosha films. So he's like a favorite director of some people who really love Japanese cinema. And he's not like a total blind spot for me, but he's someone who I haven't seen a ton of films from. This film is from 1980. 86. Wow. The only Gosha films I've seen are from the 60s and 70s. It is called Yakuza Wives, which really that should have been my life. I think I'd be a really good Yakuza wife, to be perfectly honest with you. I think you'd be a lot better at it than I am at what I'm doing with my life right now. Hideo Gosha breathes new life into the Yakuza genre with this epic tale of mob rivalry based on serialized account of the lives of real-life wives of Japanese gangsters, released for the first time on home video by 88 Films. Oh, for the first time outside of Japan, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I know basically nothing about this movie, and it's the numbered edition here too, which I'm super excited about. It's fun to have the limited stuff. Do let me know in the comments of these movies, which ones do you want to see me review on the channel, and what order do you want me to see them reviewed in, like, or do you want to see them reviewed in, excuse me, like which ones are you the most excited about? Which ones have you seen, and which ones do you think are awesome and that I would like and that I should check out first? Hop in the comments and let me know all of that. So I may have talked about this movie. I think I posted this in our Facebook group. And I made a note that I'm a little bit afraid of it. The movie is called Love and Crime. It looks really grimy. This is another 88 Films release. It's another, I'm making sure there's no nudity on the slipcase here because I don't want to get in trouble with. This is a region A and B release. There's the number there. I should check these other ones too. Jako Manetsu, I'm almost positive, is a region A and B. Yes, it is. And then Yakuza Wives is also region A and B. And then The Threat, I got the thread on eBay for like $5, and I was like shocked that I was looking for Fukasaku films, and someone had it sealed. This is the sealed Arrow Blu-ray edition. This is region A. The whole thing with shipping was less than $10. So Love and Crime looks a little bit grimy for my tastes. Japan's, excuse me, legendary Cult of Terror, or King of Terror. God, I can't. I'm getting old. Obviously, we're all getting old because every day we get older, because the world doesn't stop turning. But it's my eyes are failing me. Japan's legendary king of cult, Teru Ishii, delivers 4 dramatized tales of real-life crimes of passion involving women across women across the ages in this grotesque anthology, featuring the stories of the Hotel Nihonkaku murders, the notorious Poison Wife, and the last woman in Japan to be executed by beheading, Oden Takahashi, the brutal serial killer Yoshio Kodaira, and the story of Sade Abe, the infamous, I think she castrated people from, she's in the realm of the senses, the Oshima film. So there's that for you. I'm a little bit afraid of that. Please don't tell me to watch that one first in the comments and make me review that. I'm scared. So here's a movie that I think most people know and love, Cure. This is the Criterion release, region A. So here's a funny story behind this. Andrew Amphlett, if you know him, he does Amphlett reviews. He's a very gentlemanly fellow, and I've had a really fun relationship with him from a distance because we've never met in person over the internet for the past, it's been a while. I think I first talked to him like maybe 5 years ago. He's a really, really nice guy. And sometimes when releases come out in the UK that I want, that I'm not sure if I can get, I'll ask him to get them for me, and then he'll do the same for me. Like, oh, there's a Criterion sale coming up. Can you get me these like region A releases? So I bought Cure for him in a Criterion sale, and I think I also bought Bound 4K for him. And he bought the Eureka release of Future Cops for me because I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get that because it was like a web store exclusive, and I think they only did 1,000 copies. My hair is just like, I don't know what to do with it these days. Let me know in the comments what I should do with my hair. And then as I was getting ready to mail him his movies, whoever released Cure in the UK, I can't remember if it was Eureka or Arrow, but there's like a 4K of it now in the UK. They announced it. So he was like, I guess I don't need that after all. So I ended up with Cure. I've never seen this movie. My really good friend John, who lived in Japan with me and also went to the same undergrad school with me, University of Massachusetts, he loves this Kurosawa. This is Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Is that correct? Yeah, Kiyoshi Kurosawa. He loves him, and he loves this movie, and he has heavily recommended it to me many times, and I just haven't watched it yet. And John is the same person who heavily recommended Tarkovsky to me for like decades before I finally started watching Tarkovsky films and then realized he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. So I should listen to John, and I should watch movies that he recommends to me more frequently. Also of note, John's wife, Midori, loves Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan. She especially loves Sammo Hung, and she grew up watching those movies. in Japan, which I think is really, really cool. And I didn't know that until maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I learned that, and then I got really excited, and we like geeked out talking about Sammo Hung. She also saw Nirvana in Tokyo. She saw Alice in Chains in Tokyo, I think, like, all these amazing grunge bands. She saw them when they came to Tokyo in the '90s. So Midori is way cooler than me. Anyway, so that's Cure, and then we have 2 movies left here. Another one from Radiance Films. As I have said in other videos, Radiance is like they're like my drug dealer right now with all these amazing Japanese movies they're putting out. Um, I don't really know that much about this movie, but I'm really intrigued and very, very interested by it because it looks really fucking weird and dark and trippy, and I like stuff like that quite a bit. It's called Dogra Magra. I don't know, it's like very bright right now, and I'm getting a lot of glare, and this is kind of a dark cover, but I don't know. Hopefully you can see that. A young man kills his wife on their wedding day and goes insane. He wakes up in an asylum with no memory as 2 doctors help him recall his past. Reality and fantasy become blurred. A gothic tale. See, that intrigues me right away. Because if you know me, I love like Universal monster films. I love Tim Burton. I love Guillermo del Toro. Like I really love that gothic shit. Ugetsu has a very kind of gothic vibe. That's probably my favorite Japanese movie. A gothic tale with a sense of dreamy dread that recalls Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure. There you go. I haven't read this yet, so I didn't know that they recalled one another. Ooh. How's your recall? Are you getting total recall right now? Yes, Daddy. And The Locked Room, a Mystery of Shutter Island. Toshio Matsumoto's final feature is a stunningly shot phantasmagoria adapted from Umeno's novel. And there's a fair amount there. It looks like there's a commentary and interview with the director on here. So yeah, I mean, that sounds really, really intriguing for me. And I watched the trailer for it, and it is trippy as fuck. So this is an A and B release. This was released in 1988, and I'm just very curious about and interested in that film because it sounds like something that's right up my alley. Now, this last movie, I don't know if it says Singapore and Japan on the back, but it's in Japanese and it has English subtitles. This is a DVD from IndiePix Films. This movie was released in 2023, and the movie is Last Shadow at First Light. It says ghostly and chilling on the cover here. I know very little about this film. It was sent to me by someone who usually sends me stuff that I absolutely love. And I very much trust this person's taste because they've sent me some of like my favorite movies that I've seen over the past couple years, including Subura, the Italian crime film from Stefano Sollima, which is like far and away one of my favorite movies I've seen like over the last probably 5 years. And actually, this is the same person who sent me Harawata Man and Ike Nieman, those 2 Japanese horror comedies that I reviewed like around last Halloween that were fantastic, and which you should go and see if you love horror comedies and Japanese film slasher movies. Like they're amazing. Haunted by recurring apparitions, 16-year-old Ami embarks on a mystical journey from Singapore to Japan in search of her mother who went missing during a cataclysmic tsunami. Upon her arrival in Tokyo, she meets Isamu, her cynical taxi-driving uncle, who becomes her custodian and reluctant guide through the ravaged landscape of her family's dark past. This sounds fucking fantastic. Wow. One of the reviews here says it's a post-apocalyptic story of survivors' trauma. Okay, yeah, it's written and directed by Nicole Midori Woodford. Debuted at the San Sebastian Film Festival. This sounds fascinating. I'm really, really intrigued by this film now. So that is my first part 1 of 2 recent Japanese acquisitions. And again, I know this channel is called Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. And if you watched this channel for many, many years, I was incredibly reluctant to include anything on here that was not Hong Kong cinema. There's the pile. And then over and over again, people kept telling me, if it's something you like and it's something you want to do, then just do it because it's your channel and we like the movies that you like, and that's why we're here, and we're all just cinephiles and we like to talk about this stuff together. So there you go. So I'm Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Part 2 is coming up shortly, and we will see you next time.